What's up, Earth Rockers? It's your boy Shovatar, back again for even more Symphony of the Night. This is getting old, don't blame me, it's not my fault they re-released this game so many times, and this version, as with all the other versions, is different. The PSP version of Symphony of the Night is not different enough for me to justify doing another extremely long, multi-hour commentary for it, but PSP version of Symphony of the Night does have a different Maria mode. A Maria mode that's very, very different from the Maria mode featured in the Saturn version. Better or worse, I'll get into that. One thing that you will notice right off the bat is how much more fluently mobile this version of Maria is. She has the dash that she does through the air, the horizontal dash, is triggered by pressing a single button. So it's very, very different from the situation with Richter, where the problem that I had with Richter in Richter mode was that his good, fast, horizontal movement ability required a relatively complicated button input combo that that I was not very good at pulling off. Maria, they made it much simpler. Maria mode in the PSP version of Symphony of the Night is I guess it's impossible for me not to talk about. Well, I think I can hold off talking about the problems for a little bit. First of all, I should explain the basics of Maria mode. So Maria has a default attack of birds. She shoots 2 birds, they fly out and they come back, just like Rondo. She has access to 5, I think, or 6 sub-weapons. She has the cat, the bird, the turtle, and the dragon, and then she has Evil Maria, which is what that second little logo behind the cat up there is. That's her Evil Maria attack, which I think I might be utilizing in a moment here on one of these. No, I guess not. I don't know why not. I have full hearts. I could be using it. Basically, the thing about Maria mode is that Maria can hold 2 sub weapons at once. She can hold on to like right now I've got the cat and I've got the Evil Maria attack. I'm having a hell of a time navigating this part of the game. Gone are her special magic spells from the Saturn version. Gone is her 40-second invincibility, as far as I know. She is much more of a balanced, normal character. Now that's fine. Oh, there it is. Yeah. That's fine in... Oh, and she has item crashes. Like how Richter has item crashes, and because she doesn't have the 40-second invincibility or any like super powerful magic spells, utilizing item crashes actually becomes more is actually something that you are incentivized to do. However, and that's okay. Like I don't need her to necessarily blaze through the game in the way that Saturn Maria does. But I do think that Maria in Dracula in the PSP Symphony of the Night has one major flaw that makes her very difficult to utilize in a way that's fun, and the flaw is that her birds do not do enough damage. The birds, the birds were doing 9 damage to that knight down there. And much like in Richter mode, Maria, the only time Maria gets a buff to her stats is at the very end of the normal castle, and then that's it. And then you can pick up health vessels, energy tanks that increase your max health too, I believe. I think they didn't increase your max health in the Saturn version, but I was under the impression that they did. But here I'm pretty sure they actually do. But other than that, the only time she's ever going to get buffed is during the initial transition. So that means that she will be doing not enough damage for most of the game, in my personal opinion, compared to how much damage I think she should be doing. Now that being said, because there is no XP system, because she is not incentivized to kill things, and because she has so much excellent movement ability, like the single button horizontal dash through the air, there's no particular reason why she has to kill things in a lot of cases that are difficult to kill when she can just avoid them. Those two gentlemen back there are a prime example. I also apologize if the loading is like disconcertingly fast. I don't know if it's just because I'm coming off of the Saturn footage, but this footage is very strange to watch. The fact that I'm going through these doors like almost instantly, it feels like something's like wrong. It feels like it shouldn't be doing that, but whatever. Yeah, Maria seems like she's more about avoiding enemies and sort of picking smart fights than going after them. And here I'm picking up the Olrox teleport because I don't want to fight Olrox right now, and I don't want to... there's no boss in the Colosseum, so I'll be skipping the Colosseum entirely. And I don't want to fight Olrox right now because Olrox is pretty tough, and I want to save him until, I think, almost the end of the normal castle. But I'm grabbing the teleport anyway because the teleport is extremely convenient for the route as I had it planned out. Because the route with Maria mode is sort of built around saving whatever the trickiest bosses are for last, and getting all the easy ones done first, with, I think, a slight exception, which is that I'm going to go into the catacombs earlier than I otherwise might, because you can start off, you don't need to get the gem of the jewel of open or anything. You can just immediately open up the pathway to the caverns. So I'm going to do that here, and I think I might go right down there immediately afterwards. Anyway, yeah, Maria doesn't do enough damage. The dragon mitigates that to a large extent, where, I mean, you might not notice, it might not seem like she's not doing that much damage, but right now all I'm fighting are skeletons. All I'm fighting are early game skeletons that take full damage from her birds. They don't take, like, reduced damage or anything, but, like, imagine if those blade and hammer enemies in the hallway in the Olrox section. Like, imagine how long it would take for me to try to kill those guys with birds, and that's frustrating to me. Oh, I accidentally item crashed there. I actually did not mean to do that. But imagine like how long it would take to just kill them with the default birds. And that's frustrating to me because in Rondo, her birds were perfectly fine against armored enemies. And I also think that the fact that the birds fly out and then come back doesn't really seem to work the way that it does in Rondo in Symphony of the Night. I don't know if it's because enemies have a longer span of damage invulnerability, or what. This is an odd route. What am I... Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm going back up here because I want to get a health power-up. An energy tank. A max health increase. That's another thing that the route is built around. It's built around getting all of these that I can, because Maria mode is the mode I would say that you're probably most likely to die in, because you don't have Alucard's super tankiness, and you don't have any insta-kill abilities like the Holy Water item crash the way that Richter does. Maria's item crashes are not nearly as good as Richter's. They're good against Slogger and Gaben, obviously, like the first boss in the game that dies super fast, but beyond that... See, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The dragon does 39 damage to that thing. Like, it worked out fine there, but, like, I'm used to the dragon doing more than that. And the other thing about the dragon that makes it frustrating is that it's basically the only offensive option that actually works, that actually attains the goal of consistently killing things. Again, not really demonstrated so far because I'm still in the early game, but you'll see what I'm talking about when I get down into, like, the catacombs. But it has this funny little up and down oscillation. It can sometimes mean that it will not hit things you expect it to hit because it's, like, dipping down instead of just staying in a straight line. I think that the dragon in Rondo also did that, but the thing that the dragon in Rondo did that was nice was that it always fired out from above you. So with Maria... Oh yeah, Maria actually does have a forward attack like the one Richter has that is activated with the same input as the Richter one. That's that roll thing. It's the same input as the air dash, and obviously serves a similar function, but the only difference is that And the crucial difference is that because she has the regular dash through the air that's just at this, you can just use it with a single button press, you're not incentivized to be hitting that input combo literally all the time. Yeah, this is what I mean when I talk about Maria being vulnerable to death. That thing just hit me and I lost half my life. So Maria mode has gone from being the easiest mode in the game, and Maria has gone from being the strongest character in the game, if you think about Rondo, to being the weakest and being the protagonist of the hardest mode in the whole game. Which, to be frank, to be totally honest, I have a bit of a problem with. And that's my big, that's sort of my big critique with the PSP Maria mode, is why is Maria so underpowered? Why is Maria so... Like, Maria being weak, Maria taking a lot of damage is fine, but why does it take me 4 shots to kill a fire turret? Do you know what I mean? Like, am I... Like, how many hits is this going to take? 1, 2? Okay, well that's better than I thought. Again, like, this part isn't so bad, but wait till you see the catacombs, and you see, like, how much damage I'm doing to the enemies in the catacombs. It's fucking absurd. How little damage I'm doing to the enemies in the catacombs. And how strongly you rely on the dragon to do, like, anything against armored enemies, which, I'll say it again, was not the case in Rondo. Maybe it doesn't make sense that birds would do the same damage to armored enemies as they would to non-armored enemies, but, like, who cares? She's fighting people with birds. Like, why bring that kind of material logic into it when the concept is ridiculous from the start? So that's my big problem with Maria mode, as I already said, and I can sort of see why. I can sort of because here's the thing: Richter mode is Richter mode, and Richter mode is either brain dead. Richter mode is brain dead 99% of the time, and then for the Galamoth fight, you actually have to, like, play the game. And then Saturn Maria mode is basically exactly the same story, where you're steamrolling everything the entire time, and then you have to actually try to fight Galamoth properly, and you can actually die there. And that is what I mean when I talk about Galamoth being an interesting boss, even though I don't necessarily think he's a very well-designed boss, because he's so... At least in Alucard mode, he's not. But I'm going to wait to talk about Galamoth more until he actually shows up, but all I was going to mention is that it is interesting how his presence in the game basically completely changes it. Which is sort of... which is unique among all the bosses in the game. No other boss in the game is as single-handedly impactful to a route as Galamoth. Why am I pausing? Is this the classic Shovatar mid-run pause to go use the bathroom, and then rather than cut the footage out, I just fucking left it in? Great. Oh no, okay. I don't know what that was then. That seemed pretty... I don't know what happened there. Maybe I, like, head to Alt-Tab and, like, look something up? Anyway, Maria mode means that instead of... And what I will say about Maria being relatively underpowered in Maria mode, which is that that's not entirely a bad thing. Like, this boss right here is perfectly fine. This is a great example of, like, a good, balanced boss challenge, where Richter would walk in here and he would holy water item crash once, and that thing would be dead in 2 seconds. Maria has to actually fight it. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with this, like 12 damage to the Salem Witches, which I think would mean that I would have to throw, like... I don't even want to know how many birds at them. Too many birds, frankly, and the gremlins are even worse. With the witches, at least I can just fall past them and ignore them. Gremlins are an enemy that pretty much demand to be killed, and the fact that she has such a terrible time killing them makes it not fun to play this part of the game. Okay, that's not so bad, actually. Only 2 shots? Oh, these guys are terrible, though. I think I'd have to hit these things. Yeah. I don't think I meant to actually item crash there. Those things are a pain in the ass to kill, but I think the item crash was a mistake. Not what I intended. Yeah, these things... I would have to hit these things, what? They have like 100 HP? I have to hit them 8 times? 8 times to kill them? 2 times 8. 9 times to kill them. And this is what I mean when I talk about enemies in the catacombs. Like, okay, look at that. Do you see those birds doing 4 damage to that stupid ass horsehead motherfucker? Like, and the problem is, okay, if you can't do damage to them, why don't you just avoid them? You fucking can't. Those enemies are as big as the hallway is. So you can't just jump over them and dash past them, you have to kill them. And your default attack does 4 damage. And now I'm fucking farming hearts. That's what this version of Maria mode has driven me to regress to. I'm back to fucking farming hearts. Like I'm in Dracula's Curse and I'm trying to use a stopwatch cheese. Because I can't damage this thing without the dragon. And that's going to be the case for the entire, almost like a good chunk of the rest of the catacombs. Is not being able to damage enemies at all, practically, without using the dragon. So on the one hand, yes, it's great that they made it more like an actual game, where you can actually die, but on the other hand, holy fucking shit, the parts like this really suck. Like, look at this. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this shit show? This is happening because it takes fucking 9 hits to kill these things. And because they don't have the... I don't know, in Rondo, I feel like in Rondo, the fact that the birds shot out and then came back meant they did 2 hits like way faster, but in Symphony of the Night there's like this little recoil like iframe shit that a lot of the enemies have, and it's just hard to... I guess the birds just don't interact with it as well. So I said at the start that the purpose of the route is to do the hardest bosses towards the end, but this is kind of the exception, where this is more of a, and this is exactly what I mean when I talk about the dragon being finicky. All I fucking want is for the dragon to hit the fucking thing up there. And if the dragon just did what it did in Rondo, which is shoot, like, come out, like, above you, and then just go in a straight line, then I'd be hitting that thing, and this thing would have been dead seconds ago. But instead, now I have to do this annoying little dance where I fly up and do 12 damage to it with a bird, because that's apparently an acceptable amount of damage for Maria's default attack to do. And fortunately it died, but it only died because at the start of the level, at the start of the fight, I used a Phoenix item crash and then threw a bunch of dragons at it. And I mean, maybe I should have used the birds there instead of the dragon to keep hitting it, because I think that the birds in... I forget what the birds actually do in PSP Maria mode. I assume they do what they did in Rondo, but I'm guessing they probably don't do any damage, and I think I was just hoping to be able to, like, throw a dragon at it that would actually hit it, instead of trying to, like, plink away at it with the red birds. And now I have to farm hearts again, because I'm going to have to kill the Discus Lord, and I'm going to have to kill the Horsehead guy in order to get out of here. And the dragon is the only thing that does any fucking damage to either of those. So this is pretty obnoxious. I think this is like my honest opinion. I think Maria in the PSP Maria mode does about half as much damage as she should. I think you could double her damage and it would be completely fine. Or just make it so that she doesn't have this fucking obnoxious, pointless damage penalty on armored enemies. Like, there's absolutely no reason why the birds should be doing why I should ever be doing 4 damage to anything in any context in Symphony of the Night. If I'm in the first room of the game, on luck mode, then I could be doing 4 damage. If I'm doing 4 damage to an enemy in the catacombs, ever, under any circumstances, something needs to be changed. And I'm not averse to challenge, but this is the problem. And this is also obnoxious, by the way. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, I get that the gremlins are supposed to be tanky, but I have literally 0 tools to clear out that fire effectively. Alucard can jump and slash downwards, or can crouch and slash downwards. I can only shoot birds in a straight horizontal line. So my best bet for getting out of this part is to kill the gremlins, and then take my time clearing out all the fire. Problem is, the gremlins take fucking 9 hits to kill. So, I don't know. I mean, did they not... I'm not averse to challenge, like I started to say, but I am averse to tedium. And Making enemies that are damage sponges is tedium. Okay? Putting you in a situation where you do not have the proper tools to solve a problem is obnoxious. A challenge is when you are given the tools and you have to figure out how to utilize them correctly in order to overcome the problem. It's not being put into a situation without the tools you need to succeed, which is what dealing with the fucking gremlins feels like. And what dealing with this fucking asshole feels like. I mean, I do have the tool, I have the dragon, but again, I'll repeat what I said before, there's no circumstance in the game where I should be doing 4 damage to something. And another thing that's annoying, although this is more of a nitpick, is that they changed what sub-weapon corresponds to the dragon. Because when I started playing this game and I realized that Maria didn't do any fucking damage, I'm like, okay, where's my dragon? Like, I know how this goes. Where's my fucking dragon? And in Rondo, the dragon corresponds to the cross, where whatever torches drop the cross for Richter, they drop the dragon for Maria. So I thought I would have to go all the way up to the castle keep as quickly as possible, like rush that to get the dragon, and then I could like actually play the game. So then I go all the way to the castle keep, and then like I break a torch that contains the first cross, and I don't remember what exactly it has in it, but it's not the dragon. I can tell you that much. No, the dragon is only... The dragon in this game corresponds to the, there's some fucking fancy name for it. I forget what it is. I call them, like, the salts. I call them, like, the smelling salts. It's the thing that you... The icon is like a hand. It's like you... It's a thing that acts kind of like the holy water. You drop a bunch of salt on the ground, and then if enemies are standing in it, they take damage. That is what gives you the dragon. Now, fortunately, that is available much, much earlier than the first cross is available. That's available in the alchemy lab. But I didn't fucking know that that's what the dragon corresponded to. I didn't realize that... What am I doing? Okay. I think I was contemplating... Maybe I was contemplating getting to Olrox, but I think I decided against it? What am I doing? What are you doing, Shovatar? Or was this an accident? Okay, I think that was an accident. I think I was trying to leave the room, but I accidentally tilted the control stick too far up. Oh, I am going to go do Olrox. Okay, go. Well, alright. I guess as long as I'm here, it makes sense. And I guess I'm sort of remembering my route for this mode on the fly, and I think it goes... I think after Olrox, I'm going to go through the chapel. But I don't exactly recall. I think I end up doing the demon in the library last. Huh. I think that's it. So yeah, Olrox is actually going to be tough, because I don't have Alucard's infinite health, and the fact that I'm bad at this fight is going to be relevant. And I also just don't have the tools to fight him, because... I mean, what is Maria supposed to do against a barrage of fireballs coming at you from every conceivable angle? I guess you can spam birds, but I don't know if they can cover enough angles. Oh, I can't wait to see how much damage the birds do. I'm going to guess the birds do 5 damage. 4 damage again. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Could you imagine walking into this fight without the dragon? Could you imagine having to fucking plink this guy down 4 HP at a time? Have you ever heard of something more ridiculous in your entire life? Like, I don't know how much damage Richter does with his whip, default, but I'm certain it's more than this. I mean, I'm playing this fight pretty badly in the first place, but the larger problem, the more relevant problem, is the fact that I'm doing fucking 4 damage. Unacceptable. And this was also annoying. I would, like... I'm accidentally facing away from him when I try to use... when I'm, like, jumping in the air trying to, like, use the dragon. So if you ever see me randomly face away from a target and then like shoot a dragon like away from it, that's a mistake. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here. 1 damage. 1 damage with the default birds. That's fucking absurd. Look at all those squares. He turned into a bunch of fire squares. And as I suspected, the Olrox fight was hard. I'm almost out of hearts and I'm almost dead. What did I walk into this fight with? Like full hearts, practically? Maybe not. I guess I would have 9 or 12 more hearts if I didn't miss like a bunch of dragons that I was trying to shoot at him, but that's also kind of the Olrox paradox, where you need to jump to do optimal damage to him, but he also loves to just randomly walk at you. So, and jumping puts you in this no man's land where you are committed to your horizontal position to a certain extent for a certain period of time. So it's like you could be jumping and trying to hit him, and then while you're in midair, he decides, I'm just going to decide to walk forward. I didn't do anything to indicate that that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to fucking walk at you with my giant body and my flailing arms. That's what's just going to happen now. I'm just going to walk forward. And then that's what he does, and then you get hit. So it's like you need to jump to hit him, but then the game says, don't jump, because if you jump, then Olrox might walk forward into you. So okay, so what do you want me to do? Just sit on my fucking... sit on my thumbs and wiggle my toes? I mean, like... just sit at my computer and shit in my pants all day? Like, I don't get it. Olrox is a fucking awful boss. I'm just gonna, like... Because I mean, maybe I'm just spoiled. I'm used to, like... clean, two-dimensional Castlevania boss. I mean, this is also a two-dimensional game. I'm used to clean, classic Castlevania bosses who, because you had to not get hit by them, were very courteous about making it clear what they were going to do. Doesn't mean it's easy, necessarily. I mean, some classic Castlevania bosses are easy, of course, but plenty of them are tell you what they're going to do and are not easy. So that's just what I'm accustomed to, and it's frustrating replaying these, like, because now I'm in a mode where I can actually die, right? Now I'm playing a mode where getting hit or not getting hit by these bosses is super important. So it's like all of a sudden you're being asked to do something that you never really had to do before, and that's kind of why I have mixed feelings about this version of Maria mode. Because, okay, see, why can't the dragon always do 84 damage? Do you see how beautiful that is? Do you see how beautiful and clean that is? Why can't it be like that every time? That's what the Phoenix does. That's why I wasn't using it, because it sucks, right? Or actually, I shouldn't say it sucks. It has no range, or it doesn't have a range that I find satisfactory. And can you not use it while jumping? Is that it? Maybe you can't use it while jumping. If you can't use it while jumping, then it absolutely does suck, and that's fucking inexcusable, in my opinion. Because the whole point of an upward diagonal attack is that you want it to use things that are above you, and sometimes things that are above you might be way above you, so you'll want to jump and then use it in order to hit them. It's like fucking Lucard in Bloodlines, how he can't stab diagonally when he's in midair, even though that's like a great point in time when you would want to do that. The Doppelganger fight, I think I also specifically saved towards the end of the run, because I think it's still... I mean, statistically it's on the weaker end for bosses, but I think it actually can still kill you if you, like, fight it towards the beginning when you're expected to. Well, okay, never mind. Forget it. The Doppelganger looked confused. It looked like he didn't know what to do. Usually the Doppelganger is a little bit more proactive than that, but there he kind of was like, well, I'm crouching, why am I still getting hit? That's the vibe that I got there. I didn't go to the chapel. I thought I would go to the chapel after Olrox, but I guess not. I guess I'm saving the chapel for, I don't want to doubt myself. I don't want to say that I made a shitty route. But I'm trying to, like, work this out in my head on the fly, trying to figure out, like, my logic for why I didn't. I'm sure that I want to do, like, Keep and the Karasuman last, but I don't know exactly how I fit the chapel into that in a way that's natural. I probably just straight up don't. I mean, I'd have to come to the wall at some point, and it makes more sense to... Maybe that's my logic. I had to come to the wall at some point, and it would make more sense to get to the Karasuman from the Keep, rather than from the, Jesus, this fucking shit. From the Keep rather than from the Clock Tower. Does this thing, like, almost kill me? This thing is also another boss that just like fucking walks at you. Oh great, fucking asshole. Hey, at least the Phoenix is doing like damage to it. 59 damage, that's pretty good. If I'm gonna spend 30 hearts, I should be doing some damage. Good. Die. Die, fucker. I guess, if nothing else, playing Maria mode does give you more of a sense of satisfaction. Like the fact that I did all this without dying does actually make me feel pretty happy myself. There is a big exception. There's a big problem with Maria mode that is not present yet, but which you will see. Which you will see later. I encourage you to stay tuned for that. Not that anyone's watching these, apparently. I don't know, is it gonna like piss people off that like my Richter and Maria videos don't have any of like the reverse library or like the normal Coliseum? Sorry, my goal was all bosses, so I just wanted to do all bosses. That means I get to skip places. I get to like skip things that don't contain them. I was in the middle of talking about something, but I can't remember what it was now. Maybe bosses? Okay, oh, and she's immune to, right, Richter and Marie are both immune to status effects, which is polite of them. I don't remember if she was immune to poison in Saturn. I guess she probably was. Oh yes, I go through the wall there. Yeah, I was waiting for that to happen. I knew that happened at some point in this footage. And that actually might not be the game's fault, that might be my fault. I've heard that the PSP version is buggy, but that might be an emulator issue. Because I kind of like... I don't know, I think that also might be why the loading seems so fast. I might be telling the emulator to go into maximum overdrive and like do shit as fast as it possibly can, and that might be leading to some issues. So I don't know. Did I talk much about the environments in any of my Castlevania Symphony of the Night videos? I guess I'm gonna talk now. I like the I think I did. But I'll just say again, I do like the way the Alchemy Lab looks. I don't really like the music in the Alchemy Lab. It's a little bit too understated, and it's not... It kind of reminds you of a piece of like Bloodlines music, where it's like, this is good, but it's not as high octane as I would perhaps prefer, and it's a little bit too like well-mannered. And another thing about the Alchemy Lab, and maybe this is that there's not that much alchemy going on here. Like there's not an alchemy. Did I already say this? I feel like I already said this. See, this is the problem when you make so many videos about the same game and try to like commentate all of them. Basically, I think it's weird that the Alchemy Lab doesn't have that much alchemy in it. There's no alchemist bosses. I mean, I know there are alchemy tables, but that's pretty much it. The chapel, on the other hand, makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think that was the problem that I had with the Phoenix, is that I can't use it while jumping. I mean, could you imagine like if you couldn't throw the axe while jumping? Why am I not just skipping this? I should be just trying to skip this. I should absolutely not be playing this. I should just be jumping over and skipping all these turrets. I don't know, maybe I'm not... Because skipping this part with Richter is hard, because you have to go from, like, super jump, air dash, super jump, air dash, super jump, air dash, air dash. You know, look at that stupid-ass dragon. Look at him just, like, fucking ducking underneath the thing that... Okay, he got him that time, but, like... That's so frustrating, trying to, like... The fact that he keeps, like, ducking underneath the enemy that I'm trying to hit, and that, like, his position on the screen is, like, changing as I'm jumping? That's so weird. That's so weird. But skipping that area in Maria mode should be pretty easy, because it's just super jump and then, like, her easy air dash with one button press. But I guess I just didn't want to, like... risk it. I didn't want to like, because I can fuck up a super jump. I don't fuck up a super jump as much as I'm gonna fuck up an air dash, but I can still fuck up a super jump. Come on, come on, come on! I'm trying to bait that Raven down to attack me because I don't want to get hit by it. And it's just not. These fuckers. I'm so mad right now. I remember this. I'm so mad right now. I guess I could. Would switching to the Phoenix even reach him? I don't know if it would or not. I feel like if I had wanted to reach him with the Phoenix, I'd have to get up onto that second platform, and that would like activate him. 6 damage. 6 damage. 6 damage. 6 damage. 12 damage to a bird. I have to throw 2 birds to kill 1 bird. I have to kill 1 bird with 2 birds. This math does not add up. Why is 1 blue bird worth 2 white birds? Why is 1 crow worth 2 doves? At least with the gargoyles, they have shields, so it like kind of makes sense. But like this doesn't make any sense. Were they afraid that the fact that she doesn't have to stop while moving would make her like too overpowered, and that they didn't want her to have like default Crisagrim? I guess if the goal is to make an actual challenging iteration of the game, then those concerns make sense. But again, look at this: 12 damage. Like, in what universe? Alucard is not getting to the Hippogriff and doing 12 damage. Alucard's getting to the Hippogriff and doing like twice as much. And the problem is that it's not like the birds are doing damage more frequently, because like the enemies in Symphony of the Night have like a longer cooldown before they can get hit again. Not cooldown, a longer like period of invincibility before they can get hit again. With Rondo, it's like almost immediate, so the birds like boomeranging, like shooting out and coming back works as intended, which is that it functionally like doubles Maria's damage output. This is not so much. These things don't die in okay. I bet those Flea Riders don't die in one bird. I mean, did these guys even fucking play Rondo? Do you know how overpowered Maria is? If I had to give a list of adjectives to describe Maria, number 1 on the list would be overpowered. And number 2 on the list would be stacked. Number 3 is green. She is very strongly associated with the color green of the Saturn version because she's wearing green, obviously. What is she dressed like? She dressed like Peter Pan? She's kind of dressed like Peter Pan. I do like the fact that they changed her super jump so that she's being carried up by a bird. That's nice. That's a nice little touch. I like that. It's more thematically appropriate than her like zooming up in the air the way that she does in the Saturn version. And credit where credit is due. This version of Maria mode is like not as fun as the Saturn version because she can't do any fucking damage to half the enemies that you want her to do damage to. But she is, of course, she does resemble superficially her Rondo incarnation more closely. She doesn't feel more like her Rondo incarnation, of course, because she fucking sucks, and her Rondo incarnation is fucking overpowered, so it loses out on the 2 damage. Excuse me? Excuse me? 2 damage? 2 damage. 2 damage. How much damage should Maria do against this boss? Oh, 2. 2 damage. That sounds right. That makes sense, yeah. 2 damage? Yeah, okay. What? Like, could you imagine if I didn't have the dragon there? If I didn't pick it up in the alchemy lab? Like, if you're gonna make the dragon fucking mandatory, just give it to me for free. Like, what the fuck? 2 damage. Why? Shouldn't her birds be doing extra damage to like an evil dark spirit? Do they even know what Maria is? Do they know what like the doves of peace, holiness, purity? Come on, she should be beating the shit out of like dark spirit type enemies. Oh, they didn't replace the cross with anything. Okay, right, now I remember. I'm mad. I'm incensed, frankly. I really did not need to go up into that room and get more hearts. There's plenty of fucking hearts between this part of the castle, and the next time I'm actually going to encounter any enemies, because there's going to be 3 more heart expansions in the hidden room in the first room of the reverse keep, which is also where there's another health increase. So, waste of time. What am I doing? Stop, just stop. Stop picking up hearts. It doesn't matter. You have enough. This is frustrating. This is frustrating to watch. Everything about this is frustrating, man. Ugh. Or no, wait, do I want to... Oh, yes, now I remember. I'm actually doing something sort of strategic here, where I'm going to use a bunch of item crashes to kill the bat in the first room of the clock tower. Then I'm going to come back here and replenish all my hearts. So I'm actually... My past self is one step ahead of my present self. I am collecting more hearts than it seems like I need, because I'm going to utilize those... that stockpile down there strategically. So good for me. Never mind. I'm sorry, me. I'm sorry for shit-talking my own gameplay. It was uncalled for. Don't worry, Shovatar, I forgive you. I forgive you for, I forgive me for shit-talking myself. The world would be a better place, I think, if more of that happened. So anyway, yeah, that's the thing about Maria. The fact that Maria doesn't do any damage means that you have to be much more strategic about how you utilize item crashes than Richter does, because Richter can kill everything in one item crash. With Maria, if you want to kill a boss, it's going to take multiple item crashes. So, and I think that the dragon item crash was generally not as reliable as the bird one, because the dragon item crash, like the dragon kind of like zooms around the screen, and I don't know if it necessarily always hits what you want it to hit, or if it does it as consistently. And unfortunately, I'm still going to have more hearts than I need, because that only took like 31 hearts. Whereas there's like fucking 90 hearts in this little stockpile down here. So I still did pick up more hearts than I needed, but not quite as many. And now I have a hell of a time trying to get out of here. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, this is the one thing about the alternate modes of Symphony of the Night, is that as interesting as they were, I was just never very good at them. Like, I was never very good at the input combos that you needed to get around. And I do think that, I mean, having Maria's... Well, no, I think it's probably fine. I was going to say that I kind of wish that Maria in the PSP version had the, like, diagonal super jump that Maria in the Saturn version had, but then again, that was kind of a... I think that was actually a bad idea, because it meant that based on a very slight tilting of the control stick, you could end up going in a direction that you didn't intend. Although maybe that's a problem with... Maybe the problem there is just that I was using a control stick, because I don't think... See, I don't know anything about the Saturn. Did the Saturn controller even have a control stick? I don't know if it did. Because I played all the versions of the game with the same PS2, or the same, like, DualShock Retro controller, so I don't know... so that was how I experienced it, which means that I guess I didn't quite get the authentic experience. It's possible that, like, there were problems with the control scheme in the Saturn or the PSP version, that the fact that I used a DualShock, like, meant that I didn't experience. So that's another sort of caveat to put on top of it. But again, I mean, this is all emulated in the first place, so I'm not going to get the original hardware experience anyway. This is good. At least I'm able to fucking finally kill these cats, because these things are fucking annoying to kill in Alucard mode. This is the most dangerous part, by the way, of the entire Maria mode run, because not necessarily this part right here, but when I get to the Anti-Chapel, and when I have to go from the Anti-Chapel into the Colosseum, that's when it's going to be the worst. And that's exactly what I didn't want to have happen, but unfortunately, I don't have a choice but to get hit by it, because I have to try to go up there. This is so annoying to watch. Everything about PSP Maria mode is very frustrating, and we haven't even gotten to the worst part yet. So you have even more excitement to look forward to. I just kind of hate the balloon pods in general. Of all the things to bring back from the older Castlevania games, I think this was the least necessary. I think you could have left these guys in the past. I think you could have left these guys in Dracula's Curse. And I don't think anybody would have complained. I don't think anyone would say, hey, you know what I really want? I really want those things that punish you for attacking them, because that's always really fun. Yeah, this is the super dangerous part, because, for one thing, like, Maria can go fast, right? But the imps don't care. The imps are always just as fast as you are, and if you don't control them like this, then what that can happen is the imps can stun lock you, and then while you're stun locked, the archers will just shoot arrows at you until you die. And so what I really want to do here is I don't want this to happen, and you're going to see exactly what I mean. Fortunately, I get knocked out of it, but now I'm panicking, and I accidentally fall like way further down than I mean to, and I just go to Olrox kind of as an emergency. Because I have died there before, and this is, what, 40 minutes into the run? So the last thing that I want is 40 minutes is not that bad by Metroidvania standards, but from the standards that I'm used to, like, dying 40 minutes into the run is really bad, so that's not what I want. So I just get out of there as quickly as I possibly can, even though I don't think it was my originally intended route. I think I wanted to go Coliseum Olrox, but I ended up going Olrox Coliseum instead. Not a huge deal. I think that the reverse Olrox boss is slightly harder, or slightly easier. Or rather, probably significantly easier, actually, than the Coliseum boss. Maybe this is technically the right call, because the element of strategy that's present in Maria mode is sort of deciding... Because unlike Saturn Maria mode, PSP Maria mode, getting the energy tanks actually does increase your maximum HP, so... So the strategy is, which bosses do you do last? And whichever ones you do last are the ones you're going to want to do... Because whichever ones you do later, you're going to have more health for. So you want to try to do them in order of easiness as best you can. I didn't realize how to get through that little gap there in regular Olrox. I thought maybe Maria couldn't go through it, but she can just dash straight through it. Yeah, look at this shit, man. See, why can't the dragon always do 168 damage? That's how much damage it should always be doing in the reverse castle. That's just my opinion. I shouldn't have to shoot fucking 5 of them. Or fucking however many of them it takes to kill a fucking zombie. Although actually, no, now that I say that, the dragon is doing a pretty good chunk of damage to the zombies in the hallway. What is back here? Is there like a heart container back here? I think there is. Yeah, okay, good. And now I have to get through... I actually now have the tools to get through a part of the Olrox... A part of Reverse Olrox that I think I specifically avoided in my Richter mode footage. I actually don't quite recall. Or maybe I barely survived it. There's a part where you have to go across a bunch of spikes to get out of Olrox, and I think that's what I wanted to avoid. I think that's why I wanted to go Coliseum Olrox, because I specifically did not want to have to deal with this part. But dealing with it on Maria is really not as bad as dealing with it on Richter, because she has that easy to execute horizontal dash to just get through it. Yeah, it's this part right here. Of course, the fact that it's easy doesn't stop me from immediately landing on the spikes and then landing on the spikes again. But this isn't as bad as what can happen in Richter mode, which is that in Richter mode, if you just like screw up your air dashes over and over again, which I do a lot, then you will like barely survive this part, because you're just going to keep hitting the spikes. And the thing about air dashes is that air dashes are harder, for me at least, to execute under pressure, so that's like a situation where you absolutely have to do it, and I just end up screwing it up every time. And I want to say I had planned out an all bosses Richter route that specifically avoided that part, but now that I'm saying that, I can't recall. But I think in the footage that I finally uploaded, I did it, but I don't remember why. Maybe I didn't. See, I should look these things up before I do these commentaries, so I don't sound like I have fucking dementia or something. Like, try to remember like what I did in a video that I posted like a week ago. Ah, oh well. And now I have to try to look at that. 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage. How much damage should Maria do to this? Not 2 damage, you know. Although, actually, that's fine. Well, that's not fine. It's still annoying, but that is at least true to Alucard mode, because Alucard also, like, can't kill those things, because he doesn't do any damage to them, and they fly backwards. So, I guess that's just par for the course. So the fact that Maria can't just one-shot things with item crashes is the reason why I didn't do a super fast PSP Maria route run of this game, because the shaft fight is a fight where he will probably damage you if you don't kill him really fast, and none of the item crashes that Maria has available to her, as far as I know, are going to kill him like before he ever gets his lightning attack out, the way that Richter can. And the lightning attack is really the problem, because I don't understand how you dodge it. And now I have to try to get through the Guardian hallways. I'm curious to see how I pull this off, because I'm pretty sure I just have to fly over them, but that seems like it's going to be pretty risky. Well, here I go. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, alright, okay. I think I planned it out so that I would only have to do that once. And now I think I'm going to go straight to the... it's interesting, so I skipped the Colosseum. I must be planning on going into the Colosseum last, maybe? Or like second to last? I must be worried about... Or no, or is there not a Colosseum boss on Maria mode? No, there is. Because there was for Richter mode. There's no normal Colosseum boss for Maria or Richter, but there is a reverse Colosseum boss. Interesting. I guess I figured that I'm probably gonna get it like last then, if I didn't get it on the way to Olrox like I planned to. But why not? This is intriguing to me. Okay, here's Beelzebub. How do I do this? I'm pretty sure I go up here to the edge and then just throw dragons at him. And this part's actually pretty dangerous. I mean, Beelzebub's a pretty dangerous boss in general, but the biggest frustration is... Oh no, I know what I do. The biggest frustration is just, like, getting in range of him. And being able to hit him with an attack at all. Because the screen is only so big, and a big portion of his body is just so far out of your reach. You have to either stand on the edge and just like throw projectiles at him. And Maria is well suited to that, but Alucard is not. So trying to fight Beelzebub with Alucard is sort of like, I think you're probably just supposed to use a neutron bomb, honestly. Or the gas cloud, which is what I do in my Alucard runs. That was fine actually. That was pretty good. Good usage of hearts. Of item crashes. And here I have a decision to make, which is which part of the Colosseum, or which part of the laboratory, rather, do I hate the least. And I've decided to go through this part of it, because there are no good options. Either I go through this elevator shaft with all the imps, and risk just getting knocked down over and over again, or I go through the longer route through more other rooms, and there's like a particular room in the reverse laboratory that's got imps, and bitterflies, and gremlins, and Salem witches shooting fire at you, and spike traps. So it's like they put all the worst things in the entire game into one room. And that's the room that I ultimately decided to avoid. And the imps, fortunately in the elevator shaft, were nice to me. I don't understand how they work, but they just decided not to attack me, I guess. And now I guess I'm going to the caverns. Okay. I'm still curious to see when I'm gonna fit the Colosseum in, because the way that my route is panning out now, I don't see how I could work it back in. Maybe I'm trying to like I don't know. It's probably gonna be very awkward. I'm probably gonna have to teleport back to reverse Olrox, then go to the Colosseum, then go right back through Olrox, then go fight Shaft. That's probably what's going to happen, which I'm not happy about, but oh well. Another thing that I absolutely really want to avoid in Maria mode is I really want to avoid the S-Hall. The S-Hall is doable on Alucard mode because you have Mist Form to completely bypass all of its nonsense, but in Maria mode I would have to try to dash above stone skulls while Nova Skeletons are shooting at me with spike traps underneath me, which is a great way to just fucking die. That was fucking weird looking, but I guess it worked. I guess the dragon hit him with his tail or something? I don't know. Fortunately, a good portion of this part of the castle is inhabited by skeletons, and skeletons are generally obliging enough to die to Maria's birds in one hit, as they should. So that part's not so bad. I'm not touching the second hallway with a 15-foot pole because I would just die if I did, and I'm also not touching the other pathway that you drop down into with the Venus weeds and the Nova skeletons, because that also sounds like a great way to die. I am going to have to fight the Venus weeds one way or another, unfortunately. I could not quite figure out a route to avoid them completely. I basically had two options in figuring out how I was going to get to the caverns. Option number one is to get to the caverns through the entrance and have to fight the Venus weeds twice. Once to get through to the left part of the caverns to go fight the doppelganger, and then again to get back through again and fight the and go to the mine and the catacombs. That was option number one. Option number two was try to get into the caverns through the reverse gallery. The problem is that getting into the caverns through the reverse gallery on Richter or Maria mode is the most dangerous thing in the entire game. And it's because of the way that the entrance is situated, where... What the fuck was that? I forgot that happened. Oh, I'm going straight to the mine. Oh, you know what? No, I think I'm just dropping by the mine to use the save station to use the save station to heal myself. And am I not? Okay. The way that the entrance to the cavern is situated means that on Maria mode and Richter mode, you have to execute a super jump above a spike trap and a bone thrower and a Nova skeleton. And then you have to go through, you go into another screen, and then you have to try to execute, I think, another super jump or some other kind of special movement thing in the split second between you reaching the next screen and you falling back down into the spike trap and the Nova skeleton and the bone thrower. So that is actually, in my opinion, more dangerous than having to fight the blue Venus weeds twice. Because with the Venus weeds, at least I can take a break here. You know what I mean? I can get through some of them, and then I can stop, go up here, and full heal at the save station, and then go back down and fight them again. But with that part in the gallery, it's like either I make it or I don't make it. You know? And this is an interesting route, actually. I was expecting to go to the catacombs last, although maybe it makes sense not to do that, because here's the thing. Here's what's about to happen. I'm gonna have to fight Galamoth, and much like with Richter mode, with Maria mode, there's a very specific sequence of events, a sequence of actions you have to perform in order to Jesus fucking Christ. I hate this shit so much. Okay, good. There's a certain sequence of actions you have to perform if you want to kill Galamoth, and these actions are very specific, and they have very little room for error. In Richter mode, the way that you kill Galamoth is by I'm just gonna watch this for a second, actually, before I talk about Galamoth. I just want to watch the absolute nightmare that navigating this part of the game is. With Maria's... Okay, okay, that last part wasn't so bad, but, like, I just hate that the super jump is just, like... I don't know. So anyway, so in Richter mode, the way that you beat Galamoth is by going in with the daggers, super jumping over him, air dashing through him, or above him, and then getting up onto a little ledge behind Galamoth's head, and then before Galamoth moves away, or gets like out of your range, activating a dagger item crash to hit his head. The reason why that's what you have to do is because Galamoth has way too much health to be killed in any practical number of holy water item crashes. Galamoth is also way too dangerous to be fought conventionally, like you would fight an enemy in a video game. Alucard has Mist Form, which gives him at least a theoretical tool to dodge Galamoth's essentially undodgeable lightning attack. Richter has no such tools. So Richter has... And the reason why you have to get up towards his head is that if you hit Galamoth's head, he will get briefly, like, stunned. He'll like, briefly recoil. And the dagger item crash throws a bunch of projectiles in like this endless stream that all hit his head. He takes more damage from his head, and he like recoils from his head. So you just keep doing that until he dies. And once you're in the spot, once he's getting like the recoil, like hit, like knocked backwards by your dagger item crashes, you are hunky-dory. And that's how Galamoth works on Richter. And once you successfully pull it off, once you successfully pull it off, well, that's strange. So the save station slightly changed shape. I wonder why that happened. And once you successfully pull it off, Galamoth is dead. Pretty quickly. With Maria mode Galamoth, it's similar in a certain sense, but slightly different. Oh, actually, the reason why there was a weird cut there is because I stopped the recording to go reconfigure the turbo keybind for turbo attacking. It's not because I made a save state before Galamoth to make sure that I could actually kill him instead of having to play through an hour of nonsense to get back to this point. That's definitely not why that happened. Anyway, so as you can see here, Richter's dagger item crash does a pretty good chunk of damage, and if it's hitting Galamoth's head, it's going to do even more damage. Maria is kind of struggles to do that much damage, so as a result, the dragon's doing like about 168, 84 or 168 per shot, and then the birds are doing like, what, 24, 28, sometimes 1. So it's kind of like a little bit here and there. But, 84, 168 per shot, and then like add on the residual damage that the birds are doing, that's not that bad, if you think about it. It's only like, oh no, wait, now I'm out of dragons. Huh. Interesting. And now the birds are, for some reason, only doing... Oh, I guess the dragon was the thing doing 28 damage in the first place. Now the birds are either doing 24 damage or 1 damage. So I'm basically doing 24 or 25 damage at a time. And Galamoth has 12,000 HP. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Wow. Galamoth has 12,000 HP. So if you do some quick little math there, that means I would have to hit him with, what, 500 birds to kill him? Not count... Now, of course, it's not going to be that bad, because the dragon did a pretty good chunk of damage. It's doing 84, 168 there. So he has less than 12,000, but still going to take some time. Yep. That's how the boss is. You hit him, and then he gets his head knocked back, and then you keep hitting him, and yeah, that's just it's just kind of how it is. I'm not fast forwarding this. I'm not going to skip this. I want to show you guys what the game has decided is an acceptable procedure for defeating this boss in Maria mode. Now you might be thinking, Shovatar, come on man, the boss is optional. You know what? The game is optional, okay? The whole mode is optional. I don't have to play this game. I don't have to play this mode. But this is in the game. And Galamoth is like the only boss in Richter mode that's interesting. The only boss in Richter mode that demands anything of you beyond hitting triangle once to kill whatever's on the screen. And I was hoping, and Galamoth in Saturn Maria mode is a similar way, where Galamoth in Saturn Maria mode is actually a pretty intense skill test, but what the fuck is happening here? Why is this going on? Like, I mean, am I just an idiot? Like, is there like a Maria item crash that behaves similarly to the dagger? Is it just like the cat? Does she shoot out like a stream of cats at whatever she's fighting when she's fighting it? Would the Phoenix item crash work just as well? I mean, the Phoenix shoots out a bunch of fireballs, but it doesn't really last that long, and I don't think the fireballs hit things as much as like as much as the daggers do. So, what else is there? Turtle. The turtle item crash. I'm guessing she doesn't shoot a stream of turtle shells. So, yeah, here we are. Real exciting. You just kind of throw in a bird. Throw in a bird. Oh my god, he finally died. Okay, well, that's Galamoth for you. I mean, I don't know. Like, is that worth it? Is making Maria not overpowered really worth making you have to do that? I'm serious. Like. I'm literally at a loss for words. I feel like I should just sit here in silence for the next 20 minutes, and just try to recover from what I just saw happen. I mean, do you see? I mean, like I hope it's understandable now why I save stated there. Because if I didn't do that, if I couldn't do that, if I decided to give myself a hard and fast rule of play the game for an hour, then get to Galamoth, and if you fuck up your first air dashes, or if you stop hitting him with birds for too long, then you're fucked. I would just skip it. Like, I would skip that shit in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't feel great about it, but I feel like, why have you done this to me? You know what I mean? Like, that's how Galamoth feels to me. I'm like traumatized. I just don't know, man. I just don't know what the thought process was. Maria mode is the least fun thing I've ever done in Symphony of the Night. PSP Maria mode, I mean. There's nothing more frustrating than like not being able to do damage to just anything. That's pretty funny. I guess that's good. See, it's okay if the birds do 4 damage to something, if they do 4 damage like that. But in all other circumstances, it's like why have you hamstrung Maria this hard? Like, why does she do so much less damage than Alucard? Why does she do so much less damage than Richter? What's the rationale? Is it? I mean, is it supposed to be like a challenge mode? You know what I mean? Like, is it supposed to be? Because I don't know. I mean, Richter mode is not exactly like. If it's supposed to be a challenge mode, then making it so that you don't do any fucking damage is like the worst possible way of incorporating that. Like Richter mode, the thing about Richter mode. The problem is not necessarily that the item crashes exist. It's more the abundance of hearts, right? Because hearts in Symphony of the Night regular gameplay are supposed to be like a perennial ammunition source that you get a bit at a time and then that you utilize a bit at a time, right? It's not like the kind of thing you strategically parcel out and then use in big chunks, which is what it is when item crashes are involved. And to think that, what the hell? Was that another cut? Wow, I really did not want to ever play this again. Oh no, no. That one's actually not my fault. What happened there was that I went to go fight the doppelganger, but then my sub-weapon didn't work. I would like hit up and B, and I would just throw a bird. And as you can see, the birds do 8 damage. 8 damage to this enemy. 8. 8. Less than 10. Less than 10 damage. And they don't hit him twice, because when you hit him, he recoils and he becomes immune to damage. So, the fact that the birds are supposed to like attack and come back is not a factor in Symphony of the Night. Ergo, it is logical to increase the damage they do. How did this never occur to anybody? How did this completely fail to register in the minds of whoever developed this? And I'm just going to repeat what I said. My sub-weapon stopped working. I encountered the first bug I've ever seen in any version of this game. I don't know, I mean, maybe it's an emulator problem, but I really don't fucking think so. I mean, I guess how could you tell, but because people have said the PSP version is buggy, and I also think that there's a bug where the music cuts out. I think in my best ending footage with the English dub, the music like randomly cuts out during the shaft fight. Oh my god, this was so miserable, dude. I just Okay, this is the spot I was talking about before, where it's the other entrance to the cavern. Getting out is fine. Trying to get back in is the problem. Because I never understand, during the brief, like, period of loading, is the game registering my inputs? And if so, when does it start doing that? That's why trying to, like, do a special movement ability coming right out of a loading screen is tough for me, because I don't understand what the game has registered and what it hasn't registered. Fortunately, this part's much easier than it would be in Maria or Richter mode. I don't think I go through here in Richter mode. No, I probably do, because Richter mode is like, why would I ever go through the fucking clock tower in Richter mode? That's the whole reason why I go through the anti-chapel and risk dying to the imps and the archers, is so that I don't have to go through the clock tower, because I think the clock tower would be even worse, probably. Am I saving the did I save the Colosseum for last on purpose? I may have saved the Colosseum for last intentionally. Because, well, no, but it looked like I was kind of angling for it at the start of the chapel footage. Because the Colosseum boss is actually pretty hard. What the fuck? Come on, dude. 69 damage, by the way, per dragon shot. That makes sense. See, okay, if the dragon hits him twice, then that's fine. But okay, there we go. What the fuck was I saying about this shitty-ass game mode? Oh yeah, I was talking about Colosseum, the Colosseum fight. The Colosseum fight is actually pretty hard, because it's the only time that I've ever had to actually do it. I actually do fight the boss, like, normally on my best ending PSP footage, but I just did that because the Opal Circlet, which makes you immune to ice damage, dropped. And I thought, well, I might as well just fucking kill this boss like normally. If the only thing that's threatening, which is Scythe's stun lock freeze spell, not stun lock, but the freeze spell that stuns you. If that's off the table, then there's no reason for me to not actually fight these things. It's kind of my rationale. But with Maria, she doesn't have the opal circlet. She also doesn't get frozen, I don't think. I know Richter was immune to status. Richter's immune to like curse and immune to stone. And I'm pretty sure Maria's the same way, but I don't know if that means that she's also immune to being frozen. I don't remember. I don't remember because this footage is actually relatively old in the grand scheme of things. I think this was... because this was footage that I think I just didn't want to re-record. Okay, this is fine. This is pretty much fine. Yeah, good luck fighting those dragons on Maria, by the way. Just try to figure out a plan of attack. Like, what would I do if I wanted to kill this thing? Oh, he's out of your attack range now. Now you're down with the werewolves. Okay. Just gotta avoid him, I guess. This is actually pretty neat. This is actually pretty neat, because this is actually like, I actually kind of engage with the boss. I don't use any item crashes either. Okay, so I can get frozen, but fortunately I do a pretty good job of dodging. Grant is kind of fucking me up. Is she dead? No, she's still... okay, now she's dead. Okay, good. Okay, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. I mean, that wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. I don't know how Maria is... oh, I guess I could just use the super jump, yeah. That's probably what that's what I should do there when Grant, like falls down on the ground, is use the super jump to, like, float up in the air with the bird. Fortunately, since I did this boss last, I have a gigantic stockpile of health. Which meant that I didn't need to play it very well. That's kind of the factor that RPG elements introduce into a game like this. See, here's the thing. You can say, oh, Maria has all these tools to avoid enemies, you're supposed to avoid them. How do I avoid these? Like, okay, this guy I could avoid because I can jump over him, but like those two, like those first two werewolves, it's like you can't jump over them if their heads are that close to the ceiling. Like it just cannot be done. So I don't know. Because here's the thing about Castlevania games. Classic Castlevania games are hard. Right? That's not my problem. I don't mind if games are hard, but classic Castlevania games were very, very good at making you offensively powerful. Where if you hit something, you were going to do a lot of damage to it. Right? If you hit an enemy, with the exception of like the knights or whatever, they're going to die pretty fast. You can kill everything. You see, the trade-off is that you are fragile. I think that's the best kind of difficulty you can have. Is one where you kill things super fast, but then you can also die super fast if you're not careful. Making it so that you have to, like, make it so you don't do any fucking damage to enemies is never fun. It's fun 0% of the time to have to hit the same enemy 10 times before it dies. Okay? Like... I mean, boss fights are an exception, obviously, because boss fights are longer, but then if you apply that same low damage formula to Galamoth, I mean, you saw what happened. And look at this shit. 50 damage, 1 damage with a bird to Shaft, 50 damage with a dragon? Is this a fucking joke? Do you remember how much the Crucifix was doing to this asshole in Saturn Brand mode? It was like 145. And now the undodgeable lightning attack is hitting me. And... okay, I don't know why I stood there. I actually probably could have dodged that last tick if I ran over to the left, although probably not, because the left orb was going down pretty fast too at the end. Still alive. Then he finally fucking dies, and I'm at like 25% health. So that's why I didn't do like a rush to shaft Maria mode version of this, because if I tried to rush to shaft without getting all of the energy tanks that precede this, then he would just fucking kill me. Like that's just the facts. I mean, maybe that's not. I mean, that's not necessarily a complaint, I guess. I mean, if you're gonna make a whole alternate mode of the game where you're supposed to play through the whole game with it, then I guess it would make sense to incentivize playing through the whole game. But that is a difference. I'm not gonna say if it's a good or a bad difference. It's a difference. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm really not happy about that, like, that save state on Galamoth, but, like... Why is the background all fucked up? Are you guys seeing this? Do you guys see this, like, weird-ass fucked up background? Okay, well, now it's gone. Oh, man. I don't know, like... It's just one of those things where... Because here's the difference, right? With Richter, all you have to do is get to the ledge behind Galamoth's head fast enough that he doesn't walk all the way away from you by the time you start throwing the daggers. If he's still on the screen, you can still stunlock him. If he's not in the process of walking away from you. With Maria, he has to be so close to you, and you have to do it for so fucking long. And if you stop hitting the B button for 1 fucking second, like if you stop hitting him with those birds, which I tried to fucking configure the turbo button and it didn't fucking work. So, like, I don't even know what to say. And now we're talking about turbo buttons. Do the PSP have like default turbo? I actually don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I know the emulator did, because I had to turn it off when I played the DX Dracula X Chronicles Rondo thing, because like it would make me backflip if I held down the button. But then why wouldn't I just turn that back on for the Galamoth fight? I don't even know. I don't even care. I'm so over this fucking, like... This is kind of a miserable note to end the Symphony of the Night videos on, but... It can only be good for so long, you know what I mean? It's like if infinite monkeys type on a typewriter for long enough, eventually they write the script to Showgirls. That kind of thing, I guess. If you play Symphony of the Night for long enough, eventually you're going to find something about it that you don't like. That's what this Maria mode is. Lots of long stretches of silence in this commentary. It's because I'm just still really pissed about Galamoth and about the nonsense that you have to go through in order to kill him. Like, I just wish Galamoth was a real boss. You know what I mean? I wish he was a boss that had attacks you could correctly respond to, that you could avoid, that was damageable in a consistent manner. That's all I want. That's really all I wanted. But instead, he's like this weird... He's like this weird puzzle boss. This weird, like, RPG boss in Alucard mode, and then this weird, like, hyper-punishing... thing in Richter and Maria mode. I think actually the best Galamoth fight is the one in Saturn Maria mode. Because in Saturn Maria mode, it's not like, oh, you fucked up these two very specific special movement abilities at the very start of the fight, well, now you're dead. Instead, it's more like you have to keep track of your invincibility, you have to gain distance on him, and you have to, like, manage his position and your position, and then you also have to perform correct inputs. But if you fuck it up once, you're not, like, instantly dead, the way that you are in Victor Maria mode. Anyway, that's PSP Maria mode. Play it if you love Symphony of the Night, but you thought that it would be more fun if you couldn't kill anything. And also, if you play it, don't fight Galamoth. Just don't do it. It's just not worth it. I did it here as a demonstration. Hopefully you understand. Goodbye.